Hi guys, welcome back to Wani's Chaos. And if you don't know, I'm Wani Kiri Gomez, mom of 4 kids. I've been a mom for 7 years, and today we're going to talk about, I'm going to answer all your questions from Instagram questions about pregnancies and delivery, especially my journey and my input on it. So let's go. Shout out to Shikin for suggesting us to do this video. The first question is, do you go for a full monthly checkup for all your babies? During the first few months of your pregnancy, especially in the beginning, after like the blood works and everything else, you don't have to see your gynae that regularly compared to the later stage of your pregnancy. So probably about twice every few months. I think if there is no cause of concern, usually I would skip the visitations, right? Because I don't see a need to. Unless I'm going there to take my prenatals stash from them. Can pregnant women bleach and dye their hair? If you've been following me throughout my pregnancy's journey, I usually have my hair colored during my pregnancies. I think it's something that you shouldn't do early pregnancy. You should only do it at a later stage, but obviously you have to discuss with your gynae first, and also speak to your hairstylist before you got it done, and then you're good to go. Did you get any complications in any of your pregnancy? My first ever pregnancy with Sophia, I remembered being hospitalized for about 10 days. I still actually don't know the reason why I was there for 10 days, but what I knew was that like I was losing a lot of red blood cells, and the number of my white blood cells count was quite high, so I had fever and everything else. So it kind of disappeared after that though, after 10 days. So they couldn't tell me what was going on though, yeah, because I couldn't go for a kidney ultrasound because like she was in the way. But I don't think it's pregnancy related. It's just that I happened to develop like an infection to my immune system at that point of time. Other than that, I've always been on the lower side of my blood pressure and then my blood levels. So I tend to get really fainty when I'm pregnant. It amplifies even more because of the blood flow that is going to like 2 people right now. So other than that, it was quite actually a smooth pregnancy. Okay, this is one of the top questions that I got. Natural or C-section? I had natural birth for all 4 of my children, and it was something that could have gone both ways. I almost ended up in a C-section with Andre because he took his own sweet time to come and grace his presence into this world.
Why you don't want to listen to me?
But I remembered every single time I was in like the delivery room, I was prepared for things to go both ways. Like, you know, I didn't think of like, oh no, I don't want a C-section. Like, you know, there's always this debate that goes around saying that like, oh, okay, like which one hurts more, and like which mothers are better mothers in the delivery room when it comes to how you actually bring your child into this world. And I think both ways are equally as terrifying, you know, and I have lots of respect for women who went through C-section because the recovery phase is not easy, because I've seen firsthand people around me. I was glad that I went through 4 natural labours because I do not know how I'm going to cope with a C-section. And at the same time, I don't think it's fair because like I remember after I delivered, like everyone was like, oh, was it natural or C-section? I was like, oh, it's good that like, you know, you didn't go for a C-section. But I think it's not fair to pit this against each other because it's like I say, it's equally as painful and terrifying. Okay, next question, which is also like the most asked questions. Do you take epidural? Do you recommend it? I've had 4 different labours, 2 natural and 2 epidural assisted. Every time before I actually am closer to my due date, I will always prep myself like, okay, you know what, I will do this pain-free. I do not need any help from medications or anything. Like, I want to do it because, like, we always see, like, how strong mothers do it in the labor room, and like I prep myself for this. Like, I will read lots of articles, books, and like all these natural pain-free deliveries labor stories to prep myself. But I think I had epidural for both my boys. I remember when the first pain hit, I'm like, tap out, I need pain relief. You have to go in with a strong will if you really do not want to take any medication, but you also have to come in with like at least 20% or 30% doubt that if you really need it, you can have it. Like, that there's nobody to prove to, just because you do it with or without help from medications. I feel that if you feel you need pain-free medications, you should get it. Like, everyone's labors is different, right? Like, everyone's pain threshold is also different. So I think it's also not fair to put down mothers who take epidurals. And if you don't take epidural, good for you, which is what you get what I'm trying to say. Like, it's not fair. Like, you're not better, or you're not of any lesser just because of these options that are both presented to you. So my number one rule is to always be prepped before you go into the delivery suite, but at the same time, you have to also make yourself understand that sometimes things don't always go your way, and it's okay to not go towards your birth plan. Which one of your 4 pregnancies is the hardest one? I would say Sophia. Also because she was my first child, and it was very new to me. I had food aversion, and I lost a lot of weight. I was going through a lot. Pregnancy with her was me being in and out of hospital most of the time, and the fact that this is something new to me, I was quite terrified. I'm like, I would not want to ever be pregnant ever again. But I had 3 kids right after that, so it didn't change my mind. So in summary, I feel that during delivery, you just have to prep yourself a lot, read up, talk to people who have been through pregnancies, multiple pregnancies and deliveries, ask for opinions, talk to your gynaes. I don't think the number of times you gave birth or go through pregnancy dictates your knowledge. Like, I still remember when I was pregnant with Sophia, I was still reading up a lot to improve my birth experience. Like, whatever your outcome is, I always encourage my friends, or like my friends who are mothers, to embrace the whole journey, even if it's different from other people. Next question, we're going to touch to the topic of breastfeeding versus formula milk. It's my favorite topic. I remember right after I had Sophia, it's like a whole like, oh, should I breastfeed my child or should I give formula milk? Oh God, it's bittersweet. Okay, I couldn't, for the love of God, understand the concept of breastfeeding after I had my first child. She was a colic baby, and all I cared about was trying to get some sleep, right? So I had this baby, now what? I had relatives visiting me, telling me that like, oh, you should do this, you should do that, oh, you need to feed her this, feed her that. So I'm like, I had so many ideas. I had so many people shoving their beliefs and ideas to me, and it's very overwhelming. So overwhelming for me, to a point that like I kind of like got really stressed and depressed because of that whole issue, and it didn't help that I was a first-time mother, and I didn't know who to listen to. So that is why it's always great to educate yourself when it comes to this. I breastfed Sophia for like probably less than a month. I couldn't get the whole pumping on schedule. I couldn't get the why does my boobs hurt so much? It's rock hard. I couldn't sleep. I was crying. I was basically just in pain most of the time, up there and down there. So I thought it was supposed to be a beautiful journey. I don't get it, right? I remembered my mom came up to me and was like, you know what? You don't have to do this. Formula feed. Like you were formula fed when you were a child. You grew up fine. Yes. So I kind of like did it. I bought formula milk that day and then I fed her and I had the most peaceful sleep of my life. I was kind of guilty actually though, because everyone was like talking about like, you know, the benefits of breastfeeding. But I felt that I wasn't able to do it at that point of time, and my mental health at that stage kind of like mattered more to me. So she survived on formula milk entirely and she's 7, doing pretty well right now. And then we had Adrian and Andre. I think I breastfed all of them for about 4 months or 5 months before I got back to work. And I couldn't schedule my I couldn't keep up with the routine, all the pumping and all that, because I was doing so many things at one time. And again, I'm like, you know what, let's just switch to formula milk. I think we can all agree that breast is a good option for your child. Obviously it is, like it's proven that it has many nutrients and all that, but I think it's not fair for you to put down mothers who are not able to breastfeed their children, or if they choose not to, because I always feel that fed is best. It's not only breast, it's not only formula milk. As long as your child is fed, happy and content, I think that should be the only issue there. How do you maintain your body after labor? Here's the thing. Like whenever you're pregnant, it's like, oh, I can't wait to lose weight. I can't wait to go back to my pre-pregnancy body and like, you know, start working out or like do something about all these stretch and lose skin. That's how I felt. Like I was kind of lucky. After Sophia and Adrian, I kind of like bounced back immediately, probably because of my age as well. But then it started to get a little bit difficult after I had Andre. Like I realized that I took a longer time going back to my pre-pregnancy weight, and even for Sophie. But I had quite a traumatic labor with Sophie. I hemorrhaged actually, so I was much more focused on my health instead of my physical outlook. I think the problem with mothers that, you know, new mothers or mothers who just delivered is that their number one mission is to just go back to their pre-pregnancy weight, which is I think quite it's not something that you want to do just yet. You should focus more on your health. That's what I did with Sophie. So you focus on your health, and then you will see the difference in months to come. It's not a rush thing. I started out with just stroller walks, you know, around the park, just brought her out, and then maybe once I got the clearance from my gynae, I slowly watched what I eat, and then I start going back to the gym. But I always tell mothers that there is no magical pill, there is no magical supplements that will help you lose all of this overnight or in a month's time or whatsoever. You just have to be consistent with your diet and your exercise routine. Like, you just start small. Don't push yourself out too far, because your body kind of like housed another being for 9 months, and it definitely takes more than a month or 2 to go back to shape. Like, your body's been through a lot. So the last thing you want is to stress it even more. Once you have this positive outlook on how much your body have done for you, then you will treat it with so much respect, especially in the sense of like what you eat and how you treat them, like physically. Yeah. So just start off stroller walks. If I didn't answer your questions, just know that I feel that I do not have enough information to answer them, and I'm not the best person to be answering those questions. Just ask your gynaes, anyone that is much more informative about these kind of issues. Always talk to your gynae. Do not be afraid to come in and feel that you ask silly questions, because I do it all the time. We have come to the end of today's episode of Wani's Chaos. I hope I have shed some light into this whole pregnancy and delivery topic. Do like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. And also, thank you for everyone who's been sharing and have subscribed to our channel. And if you have other suggestions for our next upcoming videos, do not forget to comment and leave your suggestions down below.